If anyone tells you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make excuses about what is said, but answer, "He was ignorant of my other faults, else he would not have mentioned these alone," said Epictetus. This single quote shows how wise he was. Who would have thought that a man born into slavery, Epictetus, would become the philosophical mentor of Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Roman emperors to ever live. Born no one, became one of the wisest philosophers in Western history, and definitely the most influential of his particular time. Epictetus may definitely be called one of the most fascinating figures in the history of philosophy, not only for his Stoic beliefs, but for his personal story. He represents a symbol of finding self-mastery and achieving peace even in the most difficult of circumstances. I believe if every person would truly study the fundamental works of Epictetus, they could avoid much of the unnecessary suffering in their life. Most people have heard of the emperor, Marcus Aurelius, but not as many about the man that was born into slavery, who inspired and largely introduced Marcus to Stoic philosophy. Epictetus did this through the collection of his lectures written by his student. Epictetus did not even have a name. In fact, in Greek, the word Epictetus simply means acquired or gained. How did a man who even had no name was able to serve as a great inspiration to the emperor, and how he developed such valuable ideas that attracted Marcus? We may not know all the complexities in Epictetus' life, but to understand his powerful philosophy, it's incredibly important to at least have a general understanding of what he went through. Epictetus was born in the year 55 in what is modernly southwestern Turkey. Unfortunately, he was not born into a wealthy and influential family. Instead, he was born into a very harsh form of slavery. As a boy, he was somehow purchased by a secretary of the cruel emperor of Rome, Nero. The early years of his life were a true challenge to Epictetus. He experienced incredibly harsh treatment from his master, who tortured Epictetus many times, to the point of severely hurting his health. At one point, Epictetus was again tortured by his master, who at this time was twisting his leg. Keeping a composed state of mind, Epictetus tells his master Epictetus that if he keeps doing it, Epictetus' leg would simply break. At one point, his leg finally breaks, and there was no screaming, no complaining. The only thing Epictetus does is ask his master, "Didn't I warn you?" It is truly incredible. The level of self-mastery and control Epictetus achieved while still being a slave. Imagine the kind of person you need to be to handle this terrific situation in a way Epictetus did. This single story tells you how special he truly was. Following this situation, Epictetus struggles to walk for the rest of his life. But as he would tell you, a disability is an impediment to the leg, but not to the mind. Epictetus never complained about what happened. To him, it would be a complete waste of time. While still a slave, Epictetus attended the lectures of Musonius Rufus, a Roman senator and philosopher at the time. There he acquired a big portion of his philosophical knowledge. Epictetus finally gained his freedom shortly after the death of the emperor Nero. Epictetus began to teach philosophy in Rome, and did so for about 25 years, until the emperor Domitian banished all philosophers from Italy in 89. Philosophers in this period were sometimes seen as politically dangerous and had a habit of criticizing the emperor publicly, which he of course did not like. As a result, Epictetus fled to Nicopolis in Greece, where he founded his own school. The only reason that we're familiar with the works of Epictetus is because his student Arrian wrote books consisting of Epictetus' lectures. Epictetus wants you to focus only on what is under your control. If you cannot change it, why bother? Separate matters into two categories, what's in my control and what's outside of my control. Epictetus says, if something concerns anything beyond our power, be prepared to say that it is nothing to you. You cannot change the weather, so there is no reason to complain, no reason to waste any of your attention on it. You cannot change the traffic jam you encountered, so why would you ever waste your mental capital on nothing? Why suffer for nothing? There's no complaining. Do not pay any emotional attention to what you cannot change, and if something bothers you which you can change, and it is under your control, why complain? Why suffer for no reason? just act upon it. You cannot change your height to better your appearance, but changing your haircut, your style, your weight is all under your control. So instead of mindlessly wasting time complaining about the things that are outside of your control, act on what's in your control. Epictetus tells you that you are an actor in the play, characteristics of whom are chosen by the playwright. These characteristics you have to eventually accept. Epictetus warns you to not aim or try to avoid things outside of your control. He says if you desire any of the things not within your own power, you must necessarily be disappointed. You cannot force someone to love you, and you cannot force people to rate your work highly. All you can do is try your best. You cannot make people avoid getting sick. Why constantly think and be mentally enslaved by things you have no control over? With regard to whatever things either delight the mind or contribute to use or are tenderly beloved, remind yourself of what nature they are. Epictetus tells us, all the material possessions can leave you at any time. Your favorite cup may break, your lovely piece of clothing may get permanently dirty, your car may break, or you may lose your house. You must be ready to let these things go and not let them disturb your mind at all. All the people around you are also not immortal. Epictetus may sound unhuman regarding this subject, but he's just telling you the harsh truth you don't want to know. It's important to understand that people around you will not be there forever. They may leave you voluntarily or unfortunately pass away. You do not possess the precious people in your life. You should be prepared and not completely lose yourself over them no longer being there, as this is in most situations outside of your control. It is not the things that upset us, it is our judgment about them. Epictetus wants you to remember that it is 100% your choice how you react to the events in your life. Every circumstance represents an opportunity to improve oneself. Your opinion about things is what matters. In nature, there is no good, no bad, only the way you see it. Being fired from a job may lead someone to destroy their life and become an alcoholic, while a different person will see it as an opportunity to start the business they always wanted to. It is your choice. One of the worst qualities any of us can possess is self-pity. Sometimes it may indeed feel like the whole world is against you, but positioning yourself as a victim of your circumstances and indulging in self-pity will not solve your problems. Instead, it will only make you more miserable. Every single situation you encounter is an opportunity to better oneself, and that's what Epictetus wants you to do. Another essential part of Epictetus' philosophy was to be prepared for the worst. It doesn't mean you shouldn't be an optimist. Epictetus simply wants you to be ready for all the difficulties you may encounter in your journey. If you delve into something expecting no obstacles and no possible heartbreaking moments, you'll most likely fail when those incredible difficulties arise unexpectedly. On the other hand, if you are prepared, you will overcome them. You also need to accept your fate. If you had to move to a different country or you failed a test, failed at starting a company, it is important to reflect on what you've done wrong, but then simply let it go. Let go of the past and move on into the future. Epictetus does not want you to waste your life in despair of past mistakes and disasters. This all ties into a very important idea of Epictetus, an idea that external circumstances cannot disturb your peace of mind. Epictetus wants you to make a promise to yourself that no matter what you will encounter, no matter what will happen, you'll keep yourself in order and retain your peace of mind. If you get stressed about every single thing that happens to you, you'll forget the beauty of life. No external circumstances should be able to break your inner self. You must act to your best ability in every situation. What a pathetic way to live, always shaping yourself to the liking of others. Are you living for yourself, or are you living for the approval of anyone else? A lot of times we get caught up in worrying what people we don't even care about will think about us. It is our human instinct to not be different from the members of our own tribe and make sure everyone likes us. In the modern world, this prevents you from becoming your best self. You must battle it. Don't live to fulfill the expectations of others. This life is yours and you're the writer of your own book. If you've made up your mind to do something, do not fear what others will say. If what you're considering to do is not right, do not do it. If it is right, why worry about the opinions of the ones who you don't even truly respect? The philosophy of Epictetus is not easy to simply implement in your life. It goes head-on against our unconscious beliefs. You have to battle your own self, battle your irrational emotions and fears. The most important thing Epictetus wants you to take away is that you should not talk about your philosophical principles among laymen. Instead, follow your principles. Live a great life. It was a pleasure to create this video, and I wish you a great day.